Fine. So in the last session, we tested the open invoice conversion process along with the supplier conversion also. So that's what we completed. So if you have any questions, those just we'll see in the end of the session. If you have any questions on these two topics which we covered in the last session, you can raise your questions. If any other questions, we'll see in the end of the session. I think Mr. Roy and others sent a few emails with some queries. So those also we'll discuss in the end of the session. Done. So the custom roles we'll see. Voice approvals. Okay, we'll pick the concept called as security profile. Okay, we'll go with the security profile concept. It's all about creating the profile for secured access based on the user requirement. So the same concept, security profile in EBS, here also you can call it as MOAC. You know, MOAC stands for multi-org access control. So with this, in case of EBS, what we can do is from one responsibility, if you want to allow the user to access multiple operating units, you can create the security profile. By default, you can assign one operating unit to one responsibility in EBS by using MO operating unit profile option that we know very well. But by using the security profile, you can give the access to multiple operating units to single responsibility instead of creating multiple responsibilities to access multiple operating units. That's how it works in EBS. We know in EBS 11i this feature is not available. From release 12, Oracle introduced in case of EBS. In Fusion, we don't have a responsibility concept. Then how it works? In place of responsibility, we have roles. Okay, similar to responsibility, we have roles. User will have access to any functionality through roles. So now what we will do is here we'll go and create a security profile. That security profile will assign to role. That role will assign to the user. So that's how you can take a override on predefined roles. Already the roles which are assigned, it's not like predefined, that already the assignments what we have to the user, those you can override. Okay, so we'll go and see that. And when you talk about EBS security profile MOAC, basically we could see one is a security profile, other one is global security profile, right? Security profile and a global security profile. We have these two options. With the security profile, what we can do is we can allow the user to have access to multiple operating units which are belongs to same business group. If you want to give the access to single responsibility to have access to multiple operating units which are belongs to different business groups, we use global security profile. But in the Fusion, we don't have these two different type of profile of security profiles. So any sort of access, okay, any BU access you can provision to specific user through that user related role by using just security profile that we call as organization security profile. Okay, so with the specific BU, a specific BZ business group, or across the business group access user required, based on that we have security profile and a global security profile in EBS. But in the Fusion, so you don't have this classification, you can create this straight away, okay, with a one definition. Okay, any BU you can select into that. There's no classification. The BU belongs to which country or which ledger. No criteria will come into the picture. The open criteria, you can select any BU into specific security profile. Okay, let's look into the setups. What setups need to be completed to see the how that security profile concept will work here. Okay, First we have to create security profile, but here the name it as organization security profile. Just say create organization security profile. Okay, first we have to create the organization security profile. What we'll do as a part of organization security profile, we'll be grouping the business units, right? The next task is we have to assign security profile to role. In EBS also same will do. In EBS will create security profile, then the security profile we have to assign to responsibility by using MO security profile option. But here, not to responsibility, to role we will assign, not by using the profile option, direct assignment we will do it. For that we have a separate task. Okay, say assign security profile to specific role. You want to allow which role to have access to one or multiple business units, which exactly you want to give the access to users to that specific role you can assign. So after completing this task setups, we'll go and create separate user to test and understand how this functionality will work. Okay, so we'll go and create the new user, create new user, because the current user, for that user we given the access to different roles and the specific business unit, but the user has access to all the business unit, okay, where the views are connected to common reference data set. So to see the difference, we'll go on to create the separate user. Say we'll create the user called as MOAC. Okay, MOAC, and we have to assign the role to the user also. Assign role to user, and finally run. And okay, after role assignment, we have to provide anyway data access for that user. Provide data access to user. Run LDAP. Okay, run LDAP. After completing that, we'll go and test it. Testing. Okay. See, these are quite common tasks. Okay. So these are quite common. Creating the user, assigning the role, providing the data access, running LDAP. Okay. So now you assigned one business unit to this specific role, say payables manager role. So that BU got access to which reference data set. That reference data set is used for how many business unit, all BUs this user can have access. To prevent it, we are going to do these two additional setups, that's all. Okay, this is standard process you follow. User creation, role assignment, mapping business unit to that role, submitting LDAP job. This is very standard task, which standard process which you follow. So whatever we are doing here, okay, to override that access, we are creating the security profile. We are going to assign that security profile to role. So then system will just prevent that. Okay, the system will be preventing that association. Here we'll create, okay, we'll assign this and we'll assign role. Here the security profile we will discuss when we are doing it, but just understand this point. This is standard process you follow. There are the additional setups which you have to do when you are assigning the roles. Which roles we have to assign, whether we have to assign the exactly which role, and all we'll discuss few points are there to understand when you work on it. Okay, done. Now we'll go and complete one by one step. Okay, first we'll go and create the organization security profile. Fine. So just go to FSM homepage and search for organization security profile. Let me go with the search function, search task. Search for the task called as organization security profile. Here we have a task called as manage organization security profile. Just click on this task. Fine, say create. And before we go and perform this, we'll see how we have access at present. If you go to invoice workbench, here you could see this user is able to have access to multiple business units. But reality, what we did, we assigned only Cloud INC US business unit to this user's roles. What are the roles are associated with this user? Okay, to that user roles we assigned only BU. Because of reference data set, this user is able to have access to all these. Now what we will do is, we will go and override the access to this user to have access to only one business unit, instead of connecting to the reference data set to have access to multiple views which are associated with the reference data set. Okay, so whatever we did for this user, the same we are going to do that role assignment and data access, but on top of it we are going to apply the security profile which will override the common reference data set assignments. Okay, fine. Now here you are able to see multiple views access, but say our requirement is we are using the common reference data set only. Okay, but still we want to override for which BU access we are providing the user through roles, only that BU the user should be able to have access. Now how to prevent it, that we can do by using the security profile. Here you can write the name. So name is Cloud INC security profile. If you remember how you create the security profile in EBS, same process, no difference. Their form, your screen. Here you could see some additional options also. It's more related to HCM. Fine. But just we'll focus on the security profile how we required in case of business unit. And we given the name. Okay, scroll little down. Here we have organization classification. Even in EBS also we'll select the classification, then you'll select the respective entity, organization unit, right? Here also same. Just enable secure by organization classification. Now, which organizations you want to group as a part of security profile? Which organizations? Business units. So here you select classification name as a business unit. In case of EBS, we select classification as a operating, right? So once you select business unit, it will allow you to add views below. For that, you have to select secure by organization list. Which organizations? Business units. So business units you can list out. Okay, that is nothing but grouping into security profile. Just click on add. So you can search and select your business unit. So here directly if you search with the name, you cannot find it because classification name field they given mandatory. So here, so we are going to search business unit that you specify, then search for business unit. Cloud INC. So okay. At present, okay, at present we have access to multiple business units for our user. Okay, with a security profile, okay, we'll test how to give the access to only one BU, even common reference data set is associated with that BU. Okay, I'm just selecting one BU. If you want to select one more, you can select, so that finally user can have access to only two BUs. So how many you select here, those only the user can have access. So I'm selecting one because we have access to many. To see the difference, I'll go with the one. Done. Specify, then say save and close. Just save and close. Done. We created organization security profile. Now that security profile you have to associate with a specific role. Okay, for which role you want to override BU access. Okay, when user is going to use specific role, okay, from that role, whatever the BU's access that user has through common reference or any reference data set that you want to override, to which role you want to override, that we have to just specify here. Okay, here you can select data roles. See here, just search with the roles. Sorry, search with the term called as roles. So here you can find the mapping related role. You can find the task called as, 1 second, it's fetching. Import users, no, it's not displayed. Just 1 second. Data security policy reference. Yeah. So so this is a task you can use. Okay, task list, basically just click on HCM data roles. Okay, the reality, no data roles concept from release 12 onwards. So this task name they given in the prior versions, Oracle is continuing with the same naming convention. Reality, they are not data roles. Okay, no data roles concept from release 12 version, that already we discussed in the initial classes, but you could see the name as a data role. Okay, so the reason is just prior to release 12 in the prior versions, how the naming convention they taken for the task, that they didn't change it, that's all. So here we have an actual task called as assign security profile to role. We created security profile. That security profile, what we have to? We have to assign security profile to role. Okay, just click on this because this task basically belongs to HCM. So part of HCM, but we can use for financials. Here, when we are going with this task definition, assignment, assigning the our security profile to role, you will find some options which are more related to HCM, but still we have to provide some relevant data, otherwise we cannot complete it. We'll see that. Click on create. You can give the name. So Cloud INC. So we'll select role and we'll give the name. Better any one of the role. Say no issues. Okay, we'll select and then we'll give the name. Accounts payables. So accounts payable manager, or we'll go with the supervisor. Okay, now I'll say AP supervisor 1 BU. For accounts payable supervisor, we want to give 1 BU access. Which BU that is? A BU which already we selected into security profile, that will select. So just give the name, then select role. To which role you want to map the specific BU. And just click on next. You can write the role description. You may write the accounts payable supervisor can have access to only 1 BU. You can give that specifications. Done. Here, person security profile. This is more related to HCM. Even you could see the task which we searched is HCM data roles. We are going to use for finance, but still the mandatory fields which you could see which are related to HCM, HR, payroll. Okay, all this information we have to fill. That is a mandatory. Just you can provide any dummy test for this. So click on the drop down. You don't need to select existing. Just you can provide any value over there. That's all. I'll write as a cloud IAM. So there's no meaning in that. Just name identification. This definition, look for these inputs. And payroll security profile. You can just select existing or else you can write something here.
So what is this person?
Sorry? That's it. That's what I'm trying.
Clouding.
Related to HCM, human capital management.
Or is this an employee? Clouding employee?
Yes. Employee related person. Because see here, if you look at these, so more related to payroll.
Correct.
Payroll, position, department, manager hierarchy. So to facilitate these selections based on these specifications, they given that. But finance point of view, if you are using the security profile for finance, there's no meaning in this. You don't need to look at this, but still these are mandatory, just we are filling, that's all. Okay. Now our focus is business unit. You can enable this checkbox. Secure by business unit. We want to secure the access by business unit for this role. Okay, this role access we want to secure by business unit. We want to map which business unit to this job role, that you have to select in the below. Before that you have to select the person security profile also. These are all related to HCM. Just you can just fill with some dummy test. Okay, here also you can select secure by business unit. Now just click on next. Fine, we are here. Now here we can select, since we enabled secure by business unit, the same is getting defaulted here and it is opening the field. Here select our security profile. Our security profile name is Cloud INC security profile. What is the meaning of this? This security profile we are assigning to this role. That's what we discussed. Assign security profile to role. The same we are doing. We are assigning our security profile to role. Okay. So similar activity if you want to do in EBS, to assign the security profile to your responsibility, you have to go through the profile option. The profile options window you can assign by using the MO security profile option. But here no profile option required. By using this task you will be able to do it. So we given this specification. System will look for these fields as a mandatory. Assignment to evaluate, it's all related to HCM. You select all. Otherwise without giving this, if you try to save, it won't allow. Okay, done. Now you can just click on next, and again here, if anything, system look for, because it's a more HCM related. So here also you can map the same business unit, because they given two sections as a mandatory as a part of definition. That is the reason just we are giving, otherwise two times selection is not required. Here also you can give the same specification. They given two blocks to select it, so two times we enabled since the fields are mandatory. Okay, that to support the different variety of uh, maybe kind of scenarios, but in our case not required, but still they made it as a mandatory process. We are just doing twice same assignment. Okay, just click on next. Finally, just we are assigning our security profile to our role, that's all. Now here you can click on next again, and you can say submit. Just we completed two tasks. Security profile we created, that we assigned to role. Okay, now we'll go with this process. We'll create the user, we'll assign the role to the user, and we'll proceed. Fine. So we just submitted. Let's just take its own time. Submission is not completed, still it is processing. 1 second. Fine, done. Now you can go to security console to create the separate user to test this functionality. Go to security console, because our current user has access to multiple roles, 3 roles. Okay, but this we map to only one role. Is this fine? Just we'll go and create the separate user. Say add user account. Last name, say everything you can give MOAC. Accounts payable supervisor. It's a case sensitive. Sorry, it's sometimes when you're searching roles, those are case sensitive. That also you have to notice. Not all roles. Sometimes specific roles will behave as a case sensitive. So accounts payable supervisor, assign it. Okay. Yeah.
Is this role we created it?
No. We never created role, right?
What is the second step? As per
That you just, if you don't mind, you tell me what we did in the second step. Second step, we assign security profile to role. We didn't create role. Assignment. Right? First step, security profile we created, and second step, we assign the security profile to one role. The role name is accounts payable supervisor. Okay, I'm assigning accounts payable supervisor to my user. Now after assigning any role to user, what is the next step? So I have a user called as MOAC. To this user, assign role called as accounts payable manager. Sorry, accounts payable supervisor. Okay, accounts payable supervisor role I assigned to MOAC user. What is the next step when you go with the standard process? What is the next step?
Running LDAP.
No, no, no. What is standard process? Normal. Forget about MOAC. Okay. What is the next step? First, we'll assign the role to user. What is the next step? Role is payables user role. What is the next step we have to do?
Data access to user
Yeah,
provide.
data access to user. That's it, right? So in this case, data access nothing but BU assignment. So I'll go and assign Cloud INC US business unit. If I assign Cloud INC US business unit, this user, forget about these setups. I'm not talking about these setups. Just I'm talking about just there is one user called as MOAC. For that user, I assign one role. To that role, I'm assigning the Cloud INC US business unit. Now tell me, this user can have access to how many business units? Please think and tell me.
One.
If you are
Should
sure,
be
tell me.
two, right?
Technically, the user should have two business units, one through direct assignment, another one through security profile.
See, that's what I mentioned very clearly. Don't consider these setups. That is the point I mentioned. Don't consider that setup. Forget about MOAC.
I think only one BU.
On what base?
Because we are mapping the cloud into US business unit to accounts payable supervisor is a role, and you are assigning to it because it has
You just
one operating.
no. 1 second. We discussed very detailed level how user will get access to BU in the beginning of AP transactions. If you recollect that, you can answer to this question. So this is a case you are finding here. How many BUs this user can have access? That's it. Simple. Simple answer we have.
I believe reference data set because of that assignment to that business unit.
Which BU? This BU is associated with which reference data set? Based on that, how many BUs access this user is going to have depends, right? That is the point we discussed. This user will have access to business units which are not just assigned to that user's related roles. Those BUs are associated with which reference data set. The reference data set only will decide the user can have access to how many BUs. Now if I say this Cloud INC US business unit associated with accounts payables user, that user is the role is associated with the MOAC user, we have to think on the point called as this BU is using which reference data set. That reference data set is used by how many BUs? That is the point we have to understand. If this BU is going to have BU specific reference data set, then this user will have access to only that BU. Say for example, this BU is using common reference data set. In that case, how many BUs this user can have access?
All BUs.
All BUs, not all may not be correct. How many BUs
All
are using
BUs that have access to common.
BUs? Yes. So common reference data set is associated. You may have 1000 BUs, say 100 BUs. So can this user can have access to 100 BUs? No, that depends. The 100 BUs are used common reference data set at the time of definition, then yes. Out of 100, only 10 BUs are using common reference data set. In that case, this user can have access to 10 business units through this reference data set. That's it. That is the point. Now tell me, as per current system environment, if I go and assign, okay, we have seen how BU creation and everything. This is a BU which we created. Now tell me, if I assign this, if I complete this user can have access to how many BUs? No, this user can have access to how many BUs? Forget about MOAC. MOAC user can have access to how many business units?
All those business units which are in the common reference data set.
That's it. Because why we are talking about common reference data set? For Cloud INC US business unit, we use common. Done. Fine. Now we created user and we assigned role to the user. Now if you're going to provide the data access for this user will have access to multiple business units which are associated with the common reference data set. Just let me mark the status here so that would be more clear for us. This setup we done. This also, sorry.
Lakshman?
Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, please.
Can you tell one more time, like, where are we assigning the BUs to the reference data set? Like you're saying, as many BUs are assigned to the reference data set, that many BUs would have that many BUs we can access through this responsibility. But can you show again, like, where is that?
No, how to create the business unit?
When we're creating the business unit, we can assign the reference data.
That's it. That is the point we are talking about.
Right, but I'm not understanding that if we are putting their common reference data set, where are we putting the BUs in that reference data set?
See, I think you have to go through that AP session. Okay, there we spent more than 30 minutes time to understand that point, single point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Again,
it was the previous class?
Previous class, the first class after completing the setups.
Okay,
so
thank you. I'll check that.
That is the reason I could see the answers in the class. Okay, fine. Fine, done. So now we completed these setups, right? Now if you provide data access for this user can have access to multiple BUs which are associated with this BU specific reference data set. Done. Okay, I mean which reference data set is associated with the BU. Based on that, the user can have access if I complete this setup. But now what we want to do is we want to override it. If you want to override the security profile, also you have to assign to this user. That is the point. We have to go with the standard process. To override that standard process, we have to assign the security profile also to this user. The security profile will override the actual access. So here search for Cloud INC. We created, right? Cloud INC AP super user. Sorry, AP supervisor 1BU. Select and assign. You should assign this, otherwise even if you complete this setup where you created security profile that you assign to your role, it won't work until unless you assign that definition to that user. This setup is equal to in EBS assigning security profile to responsibility. Okay, we just completed this setup. So assigning security profile to role. Okay, finally that we are also applying to the user. Okay, this mapping is equal to assigning security profile to role is equal to assigning security profile to responsibility in EBS, but that responsibility need to be assigned to the user, right? In the same way, the same definition we assign to user. Then whatever the actual access user will have, that will be system will override. Anyway, the actual setups we not yet completed. User only we created, and we assigned the role to user, that is accounts payable supervisor role, and now we have to provide the data access to this user, otherwise it is incomplete definition. If any user has a role without data access, that is incomplete definition. Don't look at the point. Anyway, we just associated security profile to role. That is a different thing. That is additional activity which you are doing. This is the basic setups which you have to complete. What are the basic setups we are completing? On top of it, we have to apply the security profile. Then only it will override. This is very important point to understand here. Okay, you complete, these are basic setups, basic process. On top of it, You just add the security profile definition to our user to override, that's all. So now we'll go and assign the data, provide the data access for the user specific role. Just complete it. I think a password system is, there is some change I could see in the password which I given. Let me reset. Done. Now just will go and assign BU to the user specific role. Search for the task called as data access for users. Username is MOAC. Only one role you can see here, because we assign security profile, like we security profile we assign to role. That definition also we assign to the user, that won't be available here. That is just to user level to override, not for any assignment. Only one role we assign. For this role, you want to give which BU access. If you give this Cloud Ions US business unit, this user will have access to many BUs based on which reference data set is associated to this BU. But now that will be prevented by the security profile which we assigned at user level. That is the point we have to understand. This is how, just if you perform only these 4 setups, okay, these 3 setups, then multiple BUs access MOAC will have, MOAC user will have. Now because these setups we completed, okay, this also we assign to the user. Okay, assign roles means 2 roles. One is an actual role and one is this mapping related role. Then it will be controlled. It will override. Okay, now we'll just go and submit the LDAP job. Submit LDAP.
So Lakshman, when we did the common reference data sets, we talked about having operating unit specific data reference sets, but that is our knowledge when we didn't know about MOAC. So today we did MOAC and we created the MOAC user, we created the security profile, assigned the security profile to the user, and then
No.
you
can straight away you can go with your requirement. Say this is my requirement. How?
Okay, my requirement is that I have one CEO. I want to give him access to five business units. So should I go with reference data sets, common reference data sets, business unit, MOAC specific, or should I go with the MOAC setup?
I got your question. As per your requirement, just for one user, you require access for 5 BUs, right?
Yes.
Because of that, just one user requirement, you no need to design the solution. The solution design based on how the business will work. So normally what you can do is you can just, as per, if you want to share the data across, you have a 10 business units here, say for example access for 5 BUs for CEO. So or whatever it may be the case, if you want to share the data across all the applications, you can use the common reference data set, or else if you want to keep the data separately for each and every BU, you can maintain the separate reference data set BU wise. Now one CEO will
Okay.
require access to 5 BUs. Create security profile by grouping 5 BUs. And some CFO required access to 3 BUs. Create separate security profile. That's how we'll manage. And one more user may require access to 2. In that case, do you think for 5, 3, 2, we can have a different reference data sets among the 5 BUs itself? No, not possible, right? This you can manage with the security profiles.
Okay.
Yeah, security profile is the best option to build as per requirement different combinations or grouping on top of the.
So you are saying that if we have to expand the access, like the CEO access to 5, so we should use common reference data set. And if we have to,
I'm not saying use common. I'm not saying use common. You may use common or you may use independent, separate reference data sets. Okay, you may use common or you may use separate, but finally you have to create this what I could say separate security profile. Say you have a 5 BUs only. You have 5 BUs. You need access to your CEO for 5. So because of just that requirement, you should not create. You may have a requirement of maintaining the data separately. So how you want to manage the data separately or commonly based on that create reference data set, not based on who need access to how many BUs. Who need access to how many BUs, that you decide always by using security profile. So how data need to be shared, based on that you create your reference data set. These are the 2 different points to understand detail. Okay. People access how required, defined with a security profile. Data access how people required across the BU,
Lakshman,
defined with a reference data set.
Lakshman, if you have a reference data set has 10 business units, okay, and you want to restrict to some users.
10 business units are using the same reference data set.
Correct, right? So now I want to restrict for different users for different purpose. Okay, I have some people they need 3.
That is the point here. Create security profile. That's all.
Yeah, but security profile will have we are trying to limit in security profile. We create a security profile, but after that, what you have done, that you are giving a data access set for one BU.
You tell me your scenario.
Can I say something here, please?
No, 1 second.
If it is a configuration data,
let's ask a question. We are not completing question.
Yeah, 1 second. Let him proceed. There is some questions from someone. See, 10 BUs you said, right? And you are using common, for example.
Sorry, 10 BUs have common reference data.
Okay, now what is the question?
And I have 3 kind of users, 3 different type of users. Yeah. I want to access for 3 differently. Okay, some for 3 business, some for 3 BU, some for 3 BU. Okay, example. So in that case, my understanding, we need to have common data reference data set, that is clear. But after that, we need to create.
There only you to understand the point. You need common or separate. That's your wish. Don't.
Okay, if I want a common.
Once again,
let's say
link user access for BUs with the reference data set.
But we are talking about users here, MOAC user, right?
Users only you are talking. Okay, users only you are talking. User access you can, okay, get to reference data set. See how setup data you want to share. Simple point. I'll create BU1. I'll create BU1 and BU2. BU1 and BU2, sorry. I'll keep separate reference data set. BU1 set, BU2 set. Okay. BU1 and BU2, BU1 set, BU2 set. I created. Now, how data is maintained separately, right?
Correct.
One user required access to these two BUs. I'll create the security profile. I'll give the access to that user. That user will have access to everything, right? Respectively, user will have access to everything.
But in the data access set, you are choosing the which BU you are mapping, right?
See, that is BU specific how data need to be maintained. Here, how many BUs you need access means once you get access, that BU has access to which data that we will be able to access. User point of view, which BU you have to think. Okay. And here reference data set point of view, how that the BUs should share the same data or different separately how to maintain, you have to take the decision. So this is a point to understand. Anyway, go with your question.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding is, if it is a configuration data is shared across the business unit, we go ahead and create the data reference set.
That is simple point.
That is only the reason we create the data reference set. When it comes to the user's maintenance, it is always security profile.
Exactly. When you say users, it's a BU specific, BU wise access. Okay. When you talk about data, whether that can be used within one BU or across the BUs, reference data set. Okay. How data need to be shared across the BUs, that you decide through reference data set. Which BUs need to be provisioned to the user, that you decide with the security profile. That is the point. Okay. Yeah, please go with your example here. It's just 10 BUs common you have. 1 second, please let me complete that point. Okay, 10 BUs common. We have 3 users. Each user required access to 2, 5, 6 respectively. Then tell me, what is your question?
So my understanding, based on our discussion and today's session, so you are creating the security profile and assign that security profile to the role, right? And then we have a MOAC user, and you are mapping that security role as well as AP payables manager, right? And after adding it, and you are just adding the data access set.
One point. This is your clear right. This is a standard process you follow, right?
Yeah, I understand. Only question is,
override that.
When in which situation, right now 256, I am trying to bifurcate the operative business units for different user where they can do on the shared services. So some people they can work on those business units, some people they work on 5, some 6. But since I am using the common reference data set mapping, I have all 10 BUs, but I'm trying to limit. So do I need to create multiple security profile? That is my question.
That is true, right? You have a common for user 1, you require 2 BUs access, right? So if you assign 2 business units to this user related roles, what happens? Those BUs has a common, right? It will pull 10 BUs. That is the reason. By selecting the 2 BUs, you'll create one security profile here. By selecting 5 BUs, you'll create one security profile. By selecting 6 BUs, you'll create one security profile here. That's it. If you select the 1 or 5 or 6, all are connected to one reference data set, that is a common. Common will pull all the BUs. That's it.
Last question. When I adding the data access set, do I need to add all the BUs in the data access set, or I need to assign 1 or 2, or I don't understand that.
No, you should add all. In the security profile, you add BUs.
Okay. But in data access set?
In data access, here data access set, we are not adding the BUs. If you remember, we are selecting the security profile to role. We are assigning the
last one is security profile. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how we did. Here only you do you touch BUs in the security profile only, not in the role. This security profile we assign to role. That's it.
Yeah, kindly go to the screen what we are discussing, manage data access set, where we are filling that user selection, and there are 3 blocks, right? The last one is the BU, correct?
Where this setup? Which setup you are talking? Second one?
I'm talking about provide data access to the user. That step I am talking about. in that step, what we are trying to do in this
This is a
situation.
standard process, right? In this, what we do, we select user, we select role, we assign BU. That's it.
Correct. The BU now we have 2 BUs, 5 BUs, 6 BUs. So that user should have 2 BUs for one user one.
Yeah, one second.
User 2 will.
Yeah, in that case, what you will do? The user require access to 2 BUs. This is how we'll do it. The assignment you have to do for 2. That's all. So the user need access to 2 BUs. India business unit. If you are assigning like this, what you have to do? Accordingly, you have to create your security profile and you have to map the role. The same mapping you have to assign to this MOS user also, which we did for 1 BU.
Lakshman, this is Prasad. I think the confusion is here why it is being done 2 times.
No, Prasad, 1 second here. It's your confusion you are talking about or his confusion?
No, the same thing when you see the second
sorry
step.
to ask again, this is your confusion or his confusion you are talking about? Because I have to understand that first.
No, it is my confusion.
Okay,
yeah. So I mean, maybe it might be others as well, but
leave it. Yeah.
Yeah. So my thing is we are what we are doing is we created a security profile and we already assigned the number of business units that profile needs access to, right? So in the provide data access to user, we are again providing. So do you think maybe this step is also mandatory?
Mandatory, otherwise it won't work. See, I'll
Right,
ask you
okay.
a simple question. So you know EBS, right?
Yeah.
When you assign the primary ledger to responsibility, what system will do automatically?
All right, so
It will create a data access, right?
No, it won't create. When you create primary ledger, it will create data access set. When you assign the primary ledger to responsibility, it will assign the data access to primary ledger responsibility. Okay.
yeah.
When you assign the primary ledger to responsibility, it will assign the data access set automatically. Right?
Right, okay.
So do you think that data access set is mandatory? Yes, mandatory.
Yes, yeah.
It will point to the your data access set only. Right? Data access set only, it will point whatever the value we have in the data access GL data access profile option. Okay, that value access only the responsibility will get, not reality what value we have against GL ledger name profile option. That's how it works. If you go and override reference data access set in assignment level, whatever the value will change, that it will point to that only, not to ledger. That means reality system will override the access to the responsibility through data access set. The same logic is applicable here. Even you have a BU is assigned to your user through role, system will look at, okay, this should be there. In the EBS case, do you think primary ledger need to be assigned to responsibility? Yes, that should be there, but system won't use it. It will use data access set. Here also, this assignment should be there, but it won't go with this. It should be there, and it will look at the security profile mapping which you did to the user. That's it.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank
Two need to be done. Two need to be done. Yes, as you are raising the question, really that point we have to think. Okay, we are doing through security profile that mapping. We are assigning the role to security profile, where within the security profile what we have, BUs we have, right? That may be one or
Right.
Okay, one or security profile we have BU, but that security profile we are assigning to role means BU we are assigning to role. We are doing here. Why again we are doing? This is a mandatory. This is an additional thing which we are doing to override. That is a point.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a mandatory. Okay, this is always mandatory to do, and if you want to override this additional task also you have to do even after completing which need to be done as a mandatory. That's it. That is a simple point. Okay.
I have one scenario.
Yeah.
If you can tell me what is the best business practice to.
Please.
Yeah, so I have 3 OUs. So one way is I can add those OU into the common reference data set and I can assign
BUs we have. You said
3 BUs.
3 BUs we have. Yeah, tell me. Go ahead.
View1, okay. So I want to add for CEO, can I add this to the reference data set and that attach that reference data set one operating unit to the user, to the CEO user, and he will access to all these 3.
No. 3 BUs we have. For CEO, how many BUs you require?
3.
3. Okay.
Yeah.
And before that, whether you have to create the security profile or not, we can understand based on your security reference data set. Now my question is, okay, 3 BUs we have, ABC, and CEO need access to 3 BUs, all the BUs that need. Now, do we need to create the security profile or not? What is your answer? Just I am asking, don't mind, just my question is, 3 BUs, ABC, CEO need access to 3 BUs. Do we need to create the security profile or not?
I want to add those 3 BUs into the reference data set. Okay.
Please answer to my question so that I can understand. So what you caught already?
I think we should create security profile.
If you say that wrong, you think in the sense wrong. You have to look at the point. The 3 BUs are using same reference data set or not. That is a point.
Okay. Yes.
If 3 BUs are using, one second, 3 BUs are using same reference data set, you assign any one of the BU to the CEO, that other BUs also connected with the same BU reference data set, the CEO will have access to 3 BUs. If you have a scenario, 3 BUs are using 3 reference data set, there is no other way of giving access without security profile. That's it.
Correct.
Done. Okay. That is a point.
So
that's how we have to understand.
So other ways I can create one security profile for OUA, second security profile for B, and third security profile. And through one.
About and why? Because see, simple point here, 3 BUs ABC, CEO need access to 3 BUs. So in that case, what you can do is you no need to create anything, assign any 1 BU, remaining 2 BUs also will be accessed by CEO because they are belongs to net. Okay. Otherwise, 3 BUs has reference data, separate reference data sets. 3 BUs has separate reference data sets. So in that case, what you can do? What you have to do? How many? So
I can create 3 security profiles.
No. 3 BUs, has separate reference data sets. So in that case, if you user need access to 3 BUs, what are the different options you can use it here?
Yes, that I want to understand. So the first option will be
assigning directly. Second option is you may go with the security.
Assigning directly. Yeah.
In that case, what we will do? 3 will be assigning. Okay. So now process what we are doing. One if you assign 1, user will get access to that 1 only. If you assign BU, second BU access only. Third BU only. Otherwise, instead of doing this assignment, you may group 3 and you can just single assignment you can do it. In that case, you will get 2 options. If BUs are going to have a separate reference data sets, there are 2 ways to manage access for the user for 3 by doing this process separately, like here BU, US BU, India BU, and say UK BU. That's how you will do the assignment. That is one. Otherwise, group all and assign to the user. But again, this also need to be done. But anyway, you have 3 access required. You can ignore the security profile in that case. See, simple. If you are going to have BU specific reference data sets, the solution will become very easy. Okay, you no need to create the security profiles. Directly you can assign. It will point to 1 only, right? That's it.
So My understanding,
Yeah.
however, we are doing in EBS, if you want to MOAC, you no need to set the MO security, MO operating unit. If you want MOAC, you just assign the MO security profile and ignore the MO operating unit. Is that you are trying to explain, comparing with R12?
So if you talk about R12 setups, I'll just show you here comparison.
In either of the case, if you want operating unit, you just ignore the MO security profile because you are going to do only one operating unit.
In EBS, we'll create security profile, right? You create security profile or global security profile. Here also we are doing. Okay, this we are doing here, right? In EBS, what we do? We'll assign. Tell me what we'll do. We'll assign.
We'll assign to the responsibility.
Security.
MO security profile.
Security profile or a global security profile. It's a security or global.
MO security.
So let me write in simple way. Global or just a security profile to responsibility using profile option. The similar task here we are doing as a assign security profile to, here security profile to responsibility, here security profile to role. Here role, here responsibility, same. But here by using the profile option, here without using the profile option. Okay, you did this. Finally, this need to be assigned to user, right?
Yes, user.
Here also same we did, right? After creating user, this mapping we assigned, right? This name we assigned here, right? When we are assigning security profile role, we given the name that we assigned.
Yeah, correct, Lakshman. AP, yeah, role we have given, yes.
Equal setups, if you notice. That's it. Done. Fine. So this is the point we have to understand. Any questions on this, please? Really, this we have to understand thoroughly, no doubt. Very important.
So, what is the best business practice? I think it is more easier to understand and control from the maintenance perspective. If we create BU1 reference data set, BU2, and then we assign whatever reference data set business user needs. I think it's more cleaner.
2 points will decide this complete solution. How you want to share data, first point. Whom you want to give access to, which BU. How you want to share the data to data across which BUs. These 2 points will decide taking the decision on your reference data set and the security profile definition, etc. First point is how you want to share the data, set up data across the business units. Based on that, you can decide how many reference data sets you require. Once that is done, if you if you come to the conclusion called as data need to be shared across all the BUs, then any sort of access you need other than all BUs access, you have to create the security profile. That means whom you want to give access to which BU. Okay, here you taken the decision as a common. If you take common, whom you want to give access to which BU. All BUs access to one user. So common means you don't need to do additional setup. Assign any BU, all BUs access user will get it. So you are using, in case of common, security profile as a mandatory you have to create. Okay, and you are going to use, okay, in case of common you have to create the security profile. Only one scenario you can exclude, that is all BUs access user need no what I could say like security profile definition. So you are going with individual reference data sets for each BU. Individual, if you are going to create, so how many BUs user required access directly you can assign. You don't need to create the security profile. Not required. Data you are going to maintain separately. Even if you, why we are creating the security profile, if you assign one BU, that BU, because of reference data set, it will be pulling other BU's access also. Your role will be having other BU's access. To prevent that, we are creating security profile. Here, definition itself independent. Individual definitions we are creating with a separate reference data set. In that case, you don't need to create separate one. Okay, that's how it works.
Thank you.
Yeah, otherwise, instead of assigning the multiple times, you have a 10 BUs. Okay, so you don't want to go, I mean, yeah, this point already comes with that, is that you ignore it. Just these are the basic points you have to understand. So these 2 points, so only you have to take on the first point. This is very important, how you want to share the data. Depending on that, when you want to give access to whom you want to give access to, which BU, that will decide, that may demand security profile definition or not. That purely depends on your reference data set definition. Okay, the first you have to take the definition, how you want to share the data to data across, I mean how you, I mean whether you want to share the data across the BUs or not, you have to take decision for reference data set. We should not take the decision. Okay, reference data set definition, whom need access to which BU, which user need access to which BU, based on that don't decide reference data set definition. Okay, how data need to be shared across the BUs, based on that take decision. Okay, going forward, how which user required access to which BU, those you can manage easily. Okay, so based on first point you have to decide, not based on second point you will decide reference data set finalization definition. That's it. Okay.
Lakshman,
Yep.
I have a question here. So let's say we have a common reference data set which has access to 3 BUs. Then we have 3 BUs, and we want to have give access to one user for 2 BUs, and the second user we want to give access to 1 BU. So how is this whole setups, like all these things need to be
That is
done?
the point we are discussing, right? The 3 BUs have
Right.
access to one reference data set, right?
Right.
If you assign one
So
BU to one user, no. If you assign one BU to one user, the user can have access to how many BUs?
3.
3. If you assign 2 also?
3.
3, that's it. 1 also? 3, that's it. 3 also?
3.
That's all.
So,
Done.
yeah, so in that case, my understanding is I will create one security profile, and in that one security profile,
I got
I'll
your
assign
point.
2 BU.
In this current
Yeah.
current case, what you are taking, you have to create 2 security profile. One security profile by grouping 2 BUs, another security profile by grouping only 1 BU. That's all.
Okay, and the one on the top, like assigning the MOAC user the payable responsibility, at that level, we have to assign 3 BUs individually, right? 3 times the data access setup. We're doing it 3 times.
Which point you are talking?
Okay, thank you for
Which
clarifying.
point you are talking? I am asking out of this.
Oh, okay. I'm talking about the provide data access to user. So that one we need to do 3 times, right?
3 times not. 3 times not. You have it 2 users, right? First user need access to 2 BUs, right?
Yes.
Okay, first user need access to, 1 second. And second user need access to one BU.
1 BU. Yeah.
In this case, what we have to do is, so you'll go to user 1, and for this 2 BUs, you will do this normal setup. This task you have to complete for 2. And again, you have to go to user 2. For 1 BU, you have to complete this only 1 assignment. That's all. 3 you have to do respectively user respect. Okay. Respectively, which user you are doing, you have to do it. Okay, that's it.
Got it. Thank you.
See,
Lakshman,
these are common.
sorry.
These are fundamentals. On that, on top of it, we are applying this. That's all. There is no other point. But even if you have in this, why we have to do this is a this is standard. This is standard process which need to be followed where system can understand as a basic privileges. On top of it, you can override it. This is the point we have to understand. In override, we have the same why we are giving first. This is the first point. This has to be done. On top of it, if you want to override, you have to do it. So even here we are just giving why we are giving for overriding purpose. That is only the point we have to understand. No other point. Yeah, please.
So, Lakshman, you mean overriding means in this scenario, 2-1 users what right now other student was asking. We are overriding using the global using the security profile to giving one operating unit access.
Overriding. Right? We are overriding reference data set access.
Correct. So not overriding the user.
No. User only the point is how the user will have access to be used through reference data set only.
Because we are adding the reference data set to the global security profile where it has all the access, we are overriding on top of it. That's
yes. So with this setup, that means this example, this setup, with this setup, user will get access to all the BUs, right? Many BUs, which are associated with this BU reference data set. This setup, BU's access, we are overriding with this setup. That's all. This setup we are doing as a part of this.
That understand. One case, two users, one user case scenario. Without doing two security profiles, can we have one security profile?
No, two you should do because
we have to do
assign to two different users, right?
Users, correctly.
That is the reason. You have to set that override separately. That is the reason you have to create two. That's all. Okay, done. We submitted LDAP also. Okay, we'll just go and see the result. Still, if you have any questions, definitely we can discuss. Okay, we submitted LDAP job. Okay, now we'll go on to see how that user is provisioned access to the application. Now, system prevent the access which user will have because of reference data set is associated with the BU. So given name as MOAC. Fine. Now just go to, so this user has access to only one role. You see the difference. So this user has access to invoice and payment. The payables, accounts payable supervisor role has access to only these payables, invoice and payments. So the rest of all the privileges, which you could see here, these all are default privileges which normally any user can get it. Okay, any user can get it. Here if you go to this MOAC, here you don't have any setup and maintenance. That means this user doesn't have access to FSM, function setup manager. We didn't assign any role. This user have access to only for invoice and payment. So go to invoice workbench. We can go and check it whether this user has access to one or multiple BUs. So go to this and say create invoice. This user should have access to only one BU as per our setup. That is the purpose we create the security profile. Just click on drop down. If it is not coming, you don't need to worry about it. Wait for some time, it will come. When you are practicing, this note may be useful for you. So we are getting here only one BU. This user cannot have access. The straight away access, the access user is getting because of security profile. Otherwise, this user should get access to multiple BUs because this BU is associated with the common set. Okay. When you are practicing, if it is not coming after doing proper setups also, after submitting the LDAP synchronization, wait for some time. Normally it takes time. So this assignment and all additional security profile takes time. Now we completed, we submitted LDAP, and we just spent some time for discussions. Now it's properly synchronized and it is coming. Okay, if you see the scenario where it is not coming, you don't need to worry about it. Okay, so this is how that user will have access. Any questions here, please?
Yeah, sir. Yesterday I went through actual MOAC
Sorry?
only. Yesterday I went through actual MOAC video, sir.
Okay, yeah, please tell me.
So when compared with R12 and today's session, I am coming to the conclusion that we are not having MO operating unit concept in Fusion.
First
I mean
of all,
that profile option.
concept, operating unit concept, they just renamed to business unit, right? MO operating profile.
Yeah.
Here you do the mapping through MO operating unit profile option. Here, not with the profile option, with the setup. Second step, data, HCM data roles.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you.
That is the equal one. Yeah. Case of EBS, the first step is security profile creation. The second step is assigning security profile to responsibility. Here, second step is equal to that security profile assignment to role. That's all. Fine. Similar, you don't see the difference. Naming conventions may be different. There with the profile option, here without profile option. The rest will say. So only the point is these are common. This is for any user, any application, any data access. These are the common. User, role assign, and provide data access. That can be ledger access in case of GL, in case of subledger applications, BU access, if it is a fixed assets module, corporate book, tax book access, and run submit. This is a common. Based on this, in this case, what system will do? Whatever the BU is associated, that BU related reference data set access, it will try to give to this user. If you want to prevent it, just do these additional setups. This definition will assign to the user. That's all. So, any other questions on this point, please?
Yeah, as compared to EBS R12, in EBS R12, when we had to just assign one operating unit or VU, we used the MO operating unit profile option. But in this case, in the scenario I was talking about, you mentioned creating a security profile. So that's the difference here, is it?
No, see, that is not the difference. In EBS, we have to assign operating unit to responsibility by using MO operating unit profile option. Okay, equal to that, what we are doing here in Fusion, what did you understand? So in EBS,
provide data access for user.
Yeah, this is the task. That's all. There we don't have reference data set. Here we have. That is the reason. Here also, if you don't have reference data set, this BU assignment to the role is equal to assigning operating unit to responsibility through MO operating unit only, right?
Yes.
Here reference data set they given. That is the reason. This is how that game changed. That's all.
Okay.
Right. Any questions here, please? Fine. So this is all about security profile, or you can call it as MOAC, multi-org access control. Fine, done. So 1 second. This just we're done with this. Okay. I think it's 7:30. Fine. If you start with the custom roles, it takes time. Now we cannot finish any other small concept. We have invoice approvals also takes time. We have to discuss creating accounting entries, transferring. This is a simple task anyway. So this rest we'll just see in the next session. Maybe 1, 2, 3 or max 4 sessions we require on AP to complete it. After these 3 or 4 sessions, we'll work on invoice creation through matching. For that, we have to complete entire P2P related configuration, inventory setups, purchasing setups. Then we'll see this process. To do that, we may require 2 sessions. So these are 4, max 6 sessions. We can complete AP, including P2P cycle. Okay. So today is Friday. Okay, we'll connect on Monday and we'll proceed with the custom roles, then the rest one by one. So any questions from today's session, please? If no questions, if you have
Thanks, Lakshman.
Yep.
Thanks, Lakshman, for making it more understandable. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. See, when I ask some cross question, please don't mind. Don't take in the negative way. That is my request.
No. We need to understand that the point is, until unless we don't ask, we will not get clear on the topic.
Yeah. That is the point. Otherwise, we have to keep.
Don't have any.
We have some people may take in the different way. That is the reason I am requesting.
No.
Okay, I don't have intention. To stop someone.
You need to understand what our understanding. Then only we will.
Easy for me. We can simplify the discussion. That is only the purpose. Otherwise, why this guy is asking question every time? No, I don't ask every time. Sometimes, where I have to understand what you understood already, what you know, what level of information. Accordingly, I can go. If you are in the very basic level, then I'll be telling, okay, you have to go through something and etc. If you are really connecting with our classes, what we discussed earlier, then definitely we can discuss then and there. So that is only the intention. Please don't take another way. Okay, thanks for understanding that again. And okay, we're done for today. You may drop from the session. If you have any questions, you can stay back or else Monday. I'll be for 5 more minutes meeting.